Well, hello. And in the immortal words of one Aaron Boone, sup, yo. Speaking of sup, yo, Chris Shear's with us today. How you doing, brother? From the
Sup?
Yes Network.
Are
You
we
may know
all
him.
are we all doing sup yo? So I'll just do
Oh,
sup yo as well.
sup, yo. Wayne Franklin is with us from the Southpaw Show and the 2005 Yankees. Sup, yo.
Howdy.
I figured you'd go with that. And the returning champion, my co-host and our buddy, Shoeless Joe Jackson, Pedro Lopez is here. What's going on, brother? How are you? How you
What's
doing?
going on, fellas? How you doing?
Living the dream, man. Living the dream. Yankees are flying high at 35-17. Good for first place in the AL East. And Chris and I were talking a little bit before we started about the rotation, and the team ERA right now is at 2.86. He corrected me because I said 2.68 because I can't see because I'm old. But 2.86 isn't too bad, man. What do you? And this is all without Garrett Cole. So, Chris, I'll start with you. What are you seeing from this rotation? You're around the team. You know, like what's Cole's impact, almost as like an assistant pitching coach to Matt Blake at this point?
Well, that's I think that's the main point, especially with the starters. Even with the relievers, I would assume, because everybody who wants to pick his brain and get his ear probably gets it. You're seeing the benefits of him working with Luis Heel. The guy over his last 5 starts is pitching to an ERA of 0.59, and he also here's the thing with Heel. His first 5 games, he had 19 walks. His last 5 games, he has 10 walks. You're pretty much blind if you couldn't see this kid has the stuff. He just had to harness the command. And once he harnesses the command, he's going to be able to take off. And he's done that. So you're seeing that out of Heel. And I think he's a big part of this rotation being in lockstep without Cole. But to your point, Chris, I think Cole has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. I mean, you see him giving the advice and, you know, just kind of always around the starters in the dugout. And that's just, you know, I mean, I know his knowledge of the game is just second to none. So, I mean, so that's really just great information to have if you're on that staff. Joe, all right, you know, you and I were talking about Heel a little bit too. I mean, it's crazy what this kid has done, just kind of coming out of nowhere. And he was kind of like an afterthought coming out of spring. Is it crazy to think if this kid keeps it up that he should be in the Rookie of the Year conversation?
Absolutely. I think right now he's in the Cy Young conversation right now. I mean, nobody's hitting this kid. Like nobody. He's probably like the hardest pitcher to hit against right now. And that's saying a lot. You know, you got Corbin Burns around here in these streets. You got Yamamoto on the other side in the National League. Like this kid, like Chris said, once he harnesses that control, it's high, it's blue skies from here for him. Yeah. Let alone like Rookie of the Year. Like this kid's on the Cy Young conversation. As long as they keep him in as a starter.
Well, that's another thing.
They just have a little bit of a history of putting their starters in the bullpen and things, you know, getting a little murky after that. But the Rookie of the Year, I think he's definitely in the top spot right now, as well as the Cy Young.
Yeah. Now, Wayne. Okay, just from your perspective, you know, like to Chris's point where he said it's he kind of just needed to put it together, and Cole has been helping him. So, what does it do for a younger guy when you were a younger pitcher to have a veteran around to kind of give you, you know, just advice and talk to you about attacking hitters and what he's seeing? I mean, did you have a guy like that when you came up in your corner? I mean, obviously not Garrett Cole, but.
Well, I had I guess you could say, I think a Hall of Famer. It was Billy Wagner.
Oh, yeah.
You know, my rookie year with the Astros, I mean, he taught me a lot about just how to act, how to be a big leaguer, how to deal with setbacks, how, you know, talked about everything under the sky. But a lot comes down to the to yourself though, as the pitcher. Like going out there and finding some confidence, little self belief. And once I think what happened was there was a point where it clicked and he found his confidence. And you don't know when that's going to happen. You have confidence, but then you don't know what real confidence is. Like this kid's already dealt with the setbacks. I mean, he had a rough start. I mean, and that's how good his stuff is. They just said, "Oh, it's going to kick in," and I think that helped him a lot. That kind of helped him a lot early. To send him to AAA or send him to the bullpen might really cripple him for a little while. But they just left him out there and said, "You're going to get better. It's trial by fire. You're going to just go there and do it. You're going to do it until you can't do it." And pick their best pitcher right now. And to be where they are without Cole, I was just hoping they would just kind of maintain, keep it close, stay close to the Orioles. But man, they've exceeded expectations in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, Chris, we actually have a question here that I'll get to in a second. But Chris, I wanted to ask you really quickly. I mean, obviously Heal's coming off an injury. It is his first time around a league, which actually D-Rob brought up here in the comments.
Very important.
So, they could figure him out. But coming off the injury, do you think maybe they do move him to the pen possibly to kind of save his arm and,
we were just
limit his innings?
I hosted the pre and post game with Jack Curry, and we were actually talking about, like, at this time, who would you take out of the rotation? I mean, it's tough. If you go down the list, if Garrett Cole hypothetically is coming back to this team, I did the numbers for May. Now with Rodon, I omitted the start against the Orioles where he gave up 7 and 6 earned.
Yeah.
So I did his last 3. Everyone else, these are their numbers for May. And I just want to run through these really quick. And then I want you guys to pick somebody to take out of the damn rotation, because Stroman, his record's 1-1 with a 2.22 ERA. He's pitching better as of late.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he got hosed out of a win the other day.
Yeah. Batting average against of 195. And hold on to that, because I'm going to give you the whole thing with the entire rotation. Schmidt, who is, he had his best start of his career throwing 8 innings. 2 starts ago. He's 3-1 with a 182 and a 186 batting average against. Heel, we mentioned he's 5-0 for crying out loud in May.
It's going to be really hard
with a .59 ERA and a 117 batting average against. To Dro's point, the opposition against Heel in the month of May is 12 for 103, and I think that was my junior year in high school.
Good Lord, man. Yeah, I don't know. I
love this.
Yeah, I know.
Rodon's last 3. He's 3-0 with a 245, 239 batting average against, and Cortez, who battled his rear end off in his last start to get through 5. Those last 2 innings, he had 74 pitches after 3.
That's crazy.
He went back out there for the 4th and 5th and threw 23 total pitches, got a huge double play in the 4th, and then gutted it out and got through the Mariners and got it to the bullpen. They got the win. He's 2-1 with a 228 and a 191 batting average against. The entire rotation in May, excluding that first start for Rodon against the Orioles, they are pitching to a 151 batting average against. The opposition is 78 for 515 against the Yankees rotation.
Dirty. That's just filthy.
Can I just say, if you watch all the games, you can actually, Chris said the numbers, you actually believe all of that, because I'm watching 100%. The games and these guys are not even getting hard contact.
No. Even when
none of it.
1 through 5. Yes. When Holmes blew it up and gave up 4 runs the other night, how many balls were hit hard?
There were bloops. They were.
It was one of those. Right. It was one of those. It wasn't the runs that he gave up that pissed me. It was the way that it was happening. I would rather a single home run. Boom, kill me like that. It was a death by 1,000 cuts.
Yes,
it was. It was.
That was a blooper here. in a well placed infield grounder here, another well placed infield grounder, walk, stack fly, and then one clean hit.
Yeah, one hard hit ball.
Yeah.
Right.
And that gave him the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Other than that, nobody was squaring up these balls against any of the starting pitchers, really against any of the bullpen guys either. This is like a ridiculous run that I haven't even seen the Yankees do in dynasty years.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. It's nuts. And I want to get to the bullpen in a second, but I just, you know what? I want Wayne to answer this question that's here from D-Rod, which is, is there a different pitching philosophy with starters versus relievers behind the scenes? So, I mean, I'm guessing, that's kind of just like, the mental side of things, just how you're attacking pitchers. So if you want to answer that, because you're the, you've done both. You were a starter, you were a reliever. So just to kind of, before we get into the bullpen and talking about that, just maybe you could talk about that and, going back and forth, how you change your mentality there.
Well, I think in game, it's about the same. It's get in there and throw strikes. I will comment though, the one philosophy I've seen that's been consistent with the whole staff is there's much more aggression with the fastball that I've seen from them, or seen from a lot of teams lately. And it just goes to show you, a great located fastball it's priceless. And, if you have a great changeup, or you have a great breaking ball, that can sequence off of that. I think, that high strike zone, I wish, like I've said, you've heard me say it, I wish they had that when I was still playing. I would have lived there. I would have absolutely,
that back in the day like that.
That would have been my ride or die spot right there. But back to the philosophy part, in general, it's pretty different, because as a starter, you're on a 5-day, schedule. There's a whole routine that gets involved, with starting. So it's the mental approach that's most of it. That's most obvious. It sticks out. It's always staying. There's more of a laid back appearance for a starter. I think most people notice that. With a reliever, it's more of a football mentality. It is like heavy metal compared to like yacht rock with the starters.
Yacht rock.
Yeah, it's like that's the mentality. Like it's
Metallica and Christopher Cross.
You got it. That is exactly that's the definition, man. Like you guys have seen that Metallica video where they're in front of 1.5 million in Moscow. That's a reliever. If you're going to picture that, that's a reliever. And like you said, Christopher Cross. Yeah, that's kind of the mentality of a starter. It's like a slow burn, with the starters. But it's a very under controlled, mentality versus I'm going to go out here and be as nasty as I can for however many pitches I'm going to get this inning as a reliever. And that's always been I don't know if it is now, but it still appears so, that starters had the best command. Relievers are just the nastiest. And you see a lot of that now still. I mean, it's very similar now. And, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And you see a guy like Clay Holmes. I always said, like, the great closers, they are a mix of both. They are a hybrid. Because they are very under control. You don't see a lot of, I don't know, you don't see a lot of ADHD out of closers, man, at the big league level. You look at Mariano Rivera, very controlled guy, knows what he's doing. He's a surgeon, goes out there and carves you up. Clay Holmes has got that mentality. Billy Wagner had that mentality when I played with him, and a Rob Nen, he was always like that. But they're nasty though. All of them were nasty. So that's the way I look at it, philosophy wise. It is what it appears to be.
Are we going to include Dibble in that category too?
Oh, man.
Dibble's a wild man.
Yeah, he's nuts, man. God.
He was a little different.
He threw it like he wanted that hitter to stand on the plate, because I want to kill you.
Yep.
Please stand on the plate. So I'm going to throw this like I'm throwing it right at you.
How would he stand against Anthony Rizzo? That's what I want to know.
Ooh, he might put a ball through
Right on
Rizzo.
top.
Yeah, he might throw it through Rizzo. But so let's get into the bullpen a little bit. Obviously, what did you say was 289? Chris, was there
the relievers are at 289. That's
289.
second in Major League Baseball behind Cleveland, who's at 252.
That's insane, and that's including Jose. Yeah, that's nuts, and that's including Jose Trevino's 18 ERA.
Yeah,
and,
you got to.
Clayton Andrews actually has a higher one at 27, but
yeah.
So I mean, you're factoring that in, and you have a couple guys sitting around 5, like Dennis Santana and Caleb Ferguson. So that just means the rest of the pen is like really lights out. And Chris, Caneley's. Is he making rehab starts? Yeah,
no, he was back.
He's back.
He made
back.
He was in the game. He was in the game the other day.
I interviewed him before.
How the hell did I miss that?
I don't know. I'm a little upset at you right now. You missed my interview.
I saw the Soto interview.
He's also renounced his Eagles fandom, by the way. I'll just throw that out there as breaking news.
About time.
He did not like when they fired Doug Peterson, so he's done with the Eagles. I tried to get him on the Jets or Giants, but he said never. That might be a possibility because he poo-pooed New York football. He said no way.
He's from upstate New York.
I know.
He played
got the builder right there for him.
Yeah, he played football with my nephew up there by Albany.
God.
And he hates New York football. Yeah.
I just want to throw this out to everybody.
Maybe those pants are too tight.
Because
cutting off the circulation.
He's a big piece that's back. He could definitely be the setup, which we've seen Luke Weaver. He's been
great.
I can't, like, Wayne, I want you to comment on Weaver because I watch and I just sit there and I say he's not a big guy. And the power he generates, and he's hitting 98 on the gun. It's like I tried my entire life to crack 90. And I'm 6 feet, 185 pounds. I can't do it. This guy, and here's why I bring it up. It's because it's so effortless. What he does between the fastball and the changeup. Now he left one up, and the Mariners hit a home run off him.
Yeah, it's bound to happen.
But that stuff happens. That's baseball, Susan. I mean, let's be honest. But what he's been able to do, he came in as maybe a fringe starter in spring training, and he has been, I don't want to go out on too narrow of a limb, but if you remember what Phil Hughes did for this team, when they put him in the pen and he was electric in 2009, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting with Luke Weaver.
And Ramiro, he's like a rich man's Ramiro Mendoza.
Yes, there you go.
Nice.
There you go.
Good call.
With better stuff.
The multiple innings, you're 100% right.
Yeah. I mean, he's a 2.37 ERA, a whip of 0.66.
It's ridiculous.
What? Come on.
He's in my circle of trust, and every fan has a circle of trust.
Yeah, exactly.
He's absolutely in my circle of trust.
And I second that, just based on one thing. Like, I saw him come in the other day. Maybe it wasn't yesterday. He came in and gave up a home run early in the inning.
Seattle, that was
that was Raleigh
Thursday. Yeah, it was Raleigh.
Okay. But you know what? He went out there after that bat,
or Wednesday. I
and
apologize.
God bless him. God bless him. The guy went out there and, like it never happened, and just pumped in 90. It just said,
I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that, because that's what I thought when I was in the booth watching. I was
that's a character. Wow. That's a character trait right there.
Because you see it all the time, like that. Yeah. That'll just get in there like a hamster and start running around in your head, like, oh my God, I can't throw another changeup. He went right back to the changeup.
Yeah, well, it's
like, I don't care. Yeah,
that thing was totally nasty. And he learned something from it. He's like, well, that mistake, he learned from his mistake. He said, I'm going to go out here. I won't make that mistake again. I'll be more aggressive. That's a lack of aggression. Usually when you leave a changeup up there like that, and you just said, nah, I gotta be more aggressive.
And that goes back to your point that you just made too about relievers and how they're just a different
short memory.
Breed. Yeah.
Short memory. You have to have a short. That's one thing I always heard too from the veterans. It's shortest memory possible. And well, he lived it right there. I mean, he was the personification of that because one pitch mistake, after that, done. I mean, he killed any momentum they had after that pitch.
Yeah. I mean, actually, we do have a question, like going back to Weaver's size. You know, he says, so this is just, you know, he's great, but he's a slim guy. Can he sustain pitching with that velocity long term?
Yes.
I mean, is that without surgery, but I mean, is that a mechanical thing you see with him? Is that's why he generates that kind of power? You know, I mean, because some guys can just sling it, you know. I mean,
there's several things you could go into right there. I mean, well, Pedro Martinez not very big.
True. Yeah.
Again, I'll drop the Billy Wagner bomb. Not very big.
He was throwing harder than he was throwing more than 95 back in 98.
Yeah, and
when it was really cool to throw 95.
Yeah, Fox had like the flames on the
God. Yeah.
I lived for that, man. I lived for that one right there. I watched the tape one day, and I did. I got the flame, man. I was like, oh my God. I said, that's video game right there.
It is. That's tremendous.
But
it was cooler than the glowing puck that they tried.
Oh, that was terrible.
Sorry.
Oh, terrible.
Okay. Hey, nice.
But you talk about body types.
Mariano was not a very big guy. I mean,
no, very thin, very, but baseball workouts. I've told this to a lot of people. Like, how do baseball players look so thin and be able to? I was like, we're a different kind of athlete. I said, it's different kind of workouts. We don't do you can do a baseball workout. It doesn't look like another sport, does it? Because and baseball players build longer muscles instead of bulky muscles. So there is a difference, and that's being wiry. You can be strong. Like play with Jeter. Jeter turned sideways and stuck out his tongue. He looked like a zipper. I mean, that's how thin he was. He was a thin. he was a pretty thin guy, but he had good strength. He had those long muscles, man. He could hit opposite field home run. That's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, Jeter could do it all the time, and it's just the way it works, man. It's just the way it works.
Oh man. Well, speaking about that, actually, it's kind of a good segue into. I want to get into the lineup a bit. I mean, everybody's doing their job right now. But look at Stanton. So I want to go around the horn. Like Stanton came in, obviously started doing more flexibility training. I don't know if he's doing yoga, whatever the hell he's doing, but he dropped some weight, he dropped some of the bulk, and instead of his normal week-long tear, he's really sustained it from from the get-go this season. And I am curious if that's something can you attribute that to him coming in and not looking like a football player, not looking like a linebacker, and coming in and looking more like a baseball player like he did when he came up with the Marlins as Mike Stanton? Chris, I'll start with you and we'll go around the horn.
Well, I used to do that podcast with Jeff Nelson, and Nelly would tell me, because he did play-by-play he was the color analyst for the Marlins.
Yeah.
And Stanton would work out after the game for like an hour with Miami. Yeah. And this guy, he was an Adonis. He still is. He's just a trimmer version of what he was. I don't know if it's going to help long-term. I mean, no one can predict it. You
can't predict baseball season.
Right. No one's going to know, but so far, so good. I mean, the health throughout the lineup, especially him staying in and I think that's why he's so successful this season. It's because he's been able to stay in the lineup. He's been able to get at bats. And his last 11, 13 hits, 6 for extra bases, 4 home runs. He's slashing 325, 357, 675 with a OPS of 1032. So
that's good.
He has.
Is that good? Is that good?
I think it's good. It's pretty good. Yeah, but I just look. The Yankees are doing a good job, giving him a day here, giving him a day there. It hasn't been the usual, if a guy gets hot, he's going to sit down the next day. they are letting these guys play. And I think that has a lot to do
Thank God.
with the way the lineup is playing, with the way the pitching, not just the start, the whole staff. Chris, you brought it up at the beginning. A 2.86 ERA is leading Major League Baseball right now. And to Wayne and Dro's point, no Garrett Cole. If the four of us before the season were asked, hey, Garrett Cole's going to be out for God knows how long, do you think the Yankees could have the best staff ERA in them? Would any one of you guys say yes?
I would have said this would have been a very different show, is what I would have said before the season. Like this
that's
would have
my
been,
point. So having said that,
yeah.
let's give some credit to Matt Blake. I think we have to, and the coaching staff, because they take guys. Look at Luke Weaver. He wasn't like this before he got here. You know, Clay Holmes, he wasn't like this in Pittsburgh.
It's true.
This is the Yankees coaching staff, and you got to give them their props. I mean, they have taken these guys in, and they are doing a bang-up job. I didn't mean to spin it away from Stanton, but it's where I went. But going back to him in the lineup, when you have guys, let's be honest.
Oh, I know. Oh, we're gonna get to the other guys. Yeah,
I know. I'm just gonna lay out with this. If you have Judge, Soto, and Stanton all healthy, I mean, come on. You could have a starting rotation that blows up every once in a while because they're gonna outmash the other team. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, no, I agree. Dro, what are you seeing out of Stanton that's a little different this year, aside from size? I mean,
to be honest, I'm not sure he's doing anything much different, like crazy different, other than the way he, like you just said, the way he came into to camp and all that stuff. I came in the beginning of this season on this show and said anything he gives us is a bonus. I expect absolutely nothing, like just nothing. As long as he plays, but I'm not expecting anything from him. All of this is a bonus to me. If you got Soto and you got Judge being Soto and Judge, imagine how unfair it is if Stanton is 55% of what he was in 2017 when he won the MVP. It's ridiculous. It's gonna, and you have them stacked up. I think a big part of it also is maybe because Soto is there, there's a different kind of, I don't have to be the $32 million guy like that. There's pressure. Nobody's thinking of Stanton in that way.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? You have
he's almost
you got Soto,
he's almost overlooked.
A new kid on the block. He's absolutely overlooked right now. Like nobody's expecting any of these. So I think it's kind of free money in a weird way to say it.
Yeah,
kind of free. This season's free money for him. Like,
house money. Absolutely.
It's house. There you go. It's house money for him right now. That's what's going on right now to me.
Yeah, agree. Wayne, I mean, do you want to add anything on Stanton or you know?
We'll
go right ahead.
Pedro took the words right out of my mouth about the pressure. But you know, it does take the pressure off of him having Soto, and I think Verdugo is a big part of that too. Like he hits cleanup now, and which I think is great because Verdugo he has great at bats. And standing behind him, the pressure is off, you know, quote unquote pressure's off. But and I think it helps him not to have to care so much when, and it's a funny saying in sports, but I even tell my players in college, I'm like, stop caring so much. Stop caring so much. It just, you forget why we play. Like if you don't care so much, you're going to be a better athlete. You're a better athlete when you're not caring so much about this moment, and then you're just going out there and being an athlete. Relax in the box. Relax on the mound. Just do what you know how to do. That's it. Yeah. You're not going to be a bad player in general. You're not. You're going to be you. Just stop caring so. And I think I see a little bit of that in him. You see a guy just quietly going about his job, and he's going out there looking for a good pitch to hit. Look, he's not hitting the ball any softer. He's killing the ball.
He's hitting the ball.
And he's got the fastest swing in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Still,
I mean, I know they're measuring that now. So yeah, but I know I know. I'm not gonna get into that.
Because we need
the
that
batting
too.
Rapsodo.
Yeah, I'm not getting
but
into
he is.
that.
Yeah,
It's
he's
like,
simplified that. His efficiency with his swing is
well,
so
his
good right now.
His swing is just so strange because he just doesn't move. It doesn't look like he puts his legs into it. He just kind of and
Hips and
the
hands.
ball goes 500 freaking feet.
Well,
Like,
do you know that's the way coaches
he's got quick wrists, man. I'll tell you, he's got
coaches
some quick
used to teach that. That's what they taught. Hips and hands is hitting, and that's what he is. He's hips and hands. Only he's 6'4" and can kill the ball.
Yeah, I think he's 6'6", isn't he?
I don't think he's that tall.
Yeah, you know.
No, he's a big dude.
He's listed as 6'6".
Okay, well,
yeah, Billy Wagner was listed as 5'11". Now, come on. I used to tell him, I said, "You're 5'10". I said, "You're 5'10".
Yeah, he's like my size, like
standing on a phone book.
Listen, if you're lifted at 5'11" and as an athlete, you're absolutely not 5'11", because why would you not round up to 6 feet at that?
Yeah, yeah.
You're really 5'11".
You're way more Napoleon than Andre the Giant, man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's okay. Okay, so we have an argument to settle here in the comments.
Oh, okay.
It's it's not it's nobody's arguing in the comments. We're here to settle this argument.
Nice.
Okay, so I'd like to settle an argument with a friend that thinks Cole is the number one component to this team winning. But where do you rank some of the most important guys to stay healthy, and that will be the most important and to win this year? I mean, you got Judge and Soto, obviously. You got Holmes, you got Cole, who's going to come back. But I mean, Cole, we know what Cole's going to do. Where would you rank these guys as, like, who needs to stay hot, who needs to stay healthy? I'm probably going to go with Judge because we saw what happened last year. Granted, we did not see, Juan Soto in pinstripes last year, but like with that freak injury, and I swear to God, every time, I hope it doesn't happen this weekend, because every time I go to a Yankee game in California, Judge gets hurt the day before. I get stuck sitting right behind freaking Mike Talkman or something. And, oh God!
Oh, but the game Judge got hurt.
I was there the next day
in the right field pavilion too.
Yeah,
right
was it the next day that you were sitting behind me at Dodger Stadium?
Yeah, the next day.
Like randomly, just sitting behind me. Yeah. But okay, so where would you rank these guys? I'm going Judge because as Judge goes, the Yankees go. That's just going to be me. Chris, I'll start with you.
I'm gonna look. I'm a former wannabe pitcher. Wayne actually did it. I always wanted to do it. So I'm gonna stick with pitching. I think Cole coming back is going to be a huge boost to this team. I don't disagree with you, Chris, at all, because history, especially recent history, shows us,
unfortunately,
that when Judge is going, the rest of the offense, they call Cole the Cole train. Well, Judge is the engine that runs the offense. So picture him as, the locomotive engine, and everybody else in the lineup couples up behind him. And he's the one who drives it. He's the one who gets everybody going. And he's the one who takes pressure off of everyone. He has 7 first inning home runs. This season. 7. So
and he was ice cold to start the season, which is
here. You ready for this?
I'm always ready.
I did this for you. Here you go.
Thank you.
Entering play on April 27th, he was hitting 178. 178 to his slow start. Okay. His last 25 games since then, 11 doubles, 11 singles, 11 home runs. He has gone full spinal tap. He goes to 11.
Yes.
He's slashing 393, 528, 917, and his OPS,
it's over 1,000.
Hold on to your seats, boys and girls. 1445.
Oh,
his average
I didn't know it went that high.
His average has gone from 178 to 276 in a month.
That's crazy.
Less than a month. Less than a month.
And you got to think about the Yankees over this stretch because they've been out of control. Now, look, the pitching staff has been locked down. So it's not like Judge is carrying them to victories. It has been baseball, and Wayne, he'll agree with this. I know he will. It's not just one or the other. It's both forming Voltron and coming together. And when you have that, and you don't have it every game in a 162 game season, you are never going to have it. But sometimes the pitching saves your bacon. Sometimes the lineup saves your bacon. It's a long season, Yankee fans. You're going to have your hiccups here and there. I'm sorry. It's baseball. Wayne, please help me out here and please back me up. Because I can't take X or Twitter or whatever we call it now. When the Yankees lose 2 straight to the Mariners, who came in first place in the AL West, by the way.
Yeah, they don't stink.
No, and then they wound up beating. Then they wound up beating their best 2 pitchers. Yeah. So it's just the way the season shakes out. It's ebb and flow, highs and lows. Just learn to go with the flow.
Keep playing baseball
like a reliever.
Keep playing baseball.
Be like a reliever, like Wayne described earlier in the podcast.
Yep. Just keep playing baseball. Like that first game when they lost. So what? Clay Holmes had a hiccup, and it was ugly, like Pedro said. Who cares? Nobody thought about that. Everybody forgot about it. It was like, okay, if that's how we're going to get beat, we're not going to lose very often. They're just not going to lose very. If that's how they're going to lose,
that's a hell of a.
It's not going to happen often.
That was a hiccup. That wasn't it.
Right, and the way playoffs go, you win games in playoffs. You know the whole stat about home runs win a lot of playoff games. That's well established, but it's also the teams that can shut down home run hitters who can win as well. So the Yankees, they're right there with the pitching. They can shut down good hitting teams. So it just takes that they could get 3 or 4 runs in a playoff game and just shut down a good offensive team with the pitching they got. And I think along with that, Boone's been doing a great job with making his pitching changes. His pitching changes, I think, it's right on par there. When the Giants were winning their World Series, Bochy was great with his bullpen, making moves. And I'm seeing that with Aaron Boone now. Like he's doing a great job. He should definitely get some Manager of the Year talk going about him.
Yeah, I agree.
What you said, Wayne, that leads me to want to ask Shearn a question. And how in the offseason we heard about this third party that the Yankees hired to check out their analytics. What's going on with their analytics? Are they doing? Are they what they could fix in the analytics? Just checking under the hood, right? I've noticed. I don't know if everybody else is. I mean, I think pretty much everybody else has noticed. The way they do things, the way they manage games, the way they go about their business is quite different this year as opposed to past previous.
I agree.
Seasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
They used to have these punt lineups, as Yankee Twitter used to say all the time. I haven't seen I've seen one punt lineup the whole season. I think that was last week. I forget against who. But these guys are running out every day now. You think that has something to do with that in the offseason? That third party.
Go ahead, Chris.
There's also a better bench. Sorry, I mean, there's also a better bench this year.
You're right. And it's going to get better with DJ LeMahieu coming back. And these are good problems to have, by the way.
Yeah.
But Dro, to your point, you're like when I was a kid, when I was watching Wayne play baseball.
Thank you for saying
No. I wasn't a kid.
We're all the same age, aside from Dro.
I was a kid, though. I was a kid.
Dro was a kid.
I'm saying when I was a kid through watching you while I was at the Yes Network watching you. When you walked into the clubhouse, if you were hitting third, if you were hitting fourth, if you were hitting fifth, if you were hitting sixth, from night to night, that wasn't changing. The Yankee lineup, the past, 10 years has been like an amoeba. Like you can walk in the clubhouse and not know where the hell you're batting. Now, look, does LeMahieu coming back? Chris and I talked about this earlier in the season. I think Volpe is your leadoff guy.
I do too.
I don't care what anybody says. I don't know where DJ could be like the second starter at the bottom. Like he could be 6. I mean, you could put him after Stanton.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, I mean, get him back in, get him going. If you get him going,
7th.
then even
that just lengthens the lineup.
Yes,
that much more.
100%.
Yeah.
But to Dro's point, I think you're absolutely right. I think I don't have any information on what they checked under the hood or anything like that, but I think we could all see it. We're seeing the eye test. And Chris, our conversations off camera all the time, you cannot entirely poo-poo analytics. You can't.
Of course not.
No,
Absolutely
not.
Part of the game now. Maybe. But as Joe Madden said on Jason Stark's podcast, and I keep going back to this, and I know I sound like a broken record, but what Madden said, it resonated with me so much. He said it's imposition. It's information over imposition. Don't tell me what to do. Give me the information as the manager and let me make those educated decisions as we get into those situations during the game. And I think as a whole, I think the Yankees coaching staff is all working together with Aaron Boone. And I think, as Dro said, they are doing a great job. And right now, to Wayne's point, Aaron Boone, he's the leader in the clubhouse for manager of the year. He is.
Yeah.
He doesn't have his ace. He doesn't have his ace. And look at what he's doing.
Right. That's right.
Well, I mean, I don't think you can discount the fact that he brought in Brad Ausmus either.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge.
I mean, I think that was it was a really good move, and
maybe the most intelligent guy in that clubhouse.
Yes.
Well, I believe. What did he go to Dartmouth? It was
Dartmouth.
Oh, I thought he went to Princeton.
Yeah. Dartmouth. Oh, don't say that to him.
Don't tell him that.
Oh, that's right. You played with him, right? You played with Ausmus, didn't you?
Yeah. Poli-sci major. He was a poli-sci major.
All right. Well, there you go. But it's so. I mean, I think this. I love all the points. I mean, and the staff does not get enough credit. I mean, and my favorite and the unsung hero of that staff is always Mike Harkey. Mike Harkey does a hell of a job with those guys out there in the bullpen.
Big Hark.
The lone 09 guy.
Man, he's still
the lone 09 guy. Everybody's turned over except for Mike Harkey.
Yeah, I mean, why change a good thing, man?
Let me also throw this out there, by the way. For just the third time in franchise history, the starting staff has gone 5 or more innings and allowed 3 or fewer runs in 10 straight games. It happened in 1968, 1998, and this
1998. Yeah, wow. I did hear that.
Well, 98 makes sense.
Greatest Yankee team of all time.
68, not so much, but 98, yes.
No, but it was the. But 68 was the year of the pitcher.
Yes.
And my man right here, Louis.
There you go.
And the only reason Tiant didn't win the Cy Young that year was because Denny McClain won like 31 games.
30. He won 30 games.
30.
Yeah.
It was 30 even. Yeah.
Is that the year he plunked Pepitone because he wanted to pitch right here after Mantle hit the home run?
I think so. But I mean, how much? And we're speaking to the staff, and actually, I was going to ask this as well. Another question came in about, do you think, bringing in James Rowson and Pat Rossler as well, it's a completely different hitting philosophy than they had with Lawson. Usually, obviously the hitting coach is usually the first to go. It's like, the guy in the red shirt on Star Trek or whatever, you're going to die.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to die.
Scotty, Bones, Spock, and Jones.
Yeah. And
you're
Fred,
the
Oasis. Fred, you're
who's not
Scotty.
Coming back.
So it's like, yeah, exactly. We know who's
as soon as you find out you're a yeoman, you're like, I'm dead.
But I mean, you can see that too. And also, I mean, Rossler was Soto's hitting coach in Washington, was he not?
Yes,
so there's a little thing there as well. And I mean, I do think you're seeing guys, hitting coaches get all the blame, but I feel like they never get any of the credit when things are going well.
Of course.
But I do think, you're seeing guys have a little 2-strike approach. I mean, Rizzo has always had that where he chokes up and whatnot, but I mean, what do you attribute that to as well? I mean, is it just an organizational philosophy instead of that whole hit strikes hard thing? Now it's a little more. Let's play baseball, guys. Go the other way. Take what the pitcher gives you, and
easy answer.
Yeah, I think it's a trickle down effect. And look, I've never been in a clubhouse. I've never played at that level, but I think it's a trickle-down effect from Soto. And you brought up Rossler, and I'm glad you did.
Good influence.
Because the other night, and the whole team, when we talked to the team after that win against the Mariners, where Nestor gutted out those 5 innings, Judge said it, Nestor said it. The way Soto works is just, it's different and it's infectious, and people see it and they want to do it too. And Rossler, I asked him this in the clubhouse after I interviewed him on the field. And I said, you went to assistant hitting coach Pat Rossler after both of those home runs. I said, what were those conversations?
That's a great question.
And he said, well, we noticed something in that first AB. Now, it looked like his body language was telling me I'm keeping what we said close to the vest. I could have followed up and said, what were those comments? What was in that first AB? But I left it alone. But he gave me a good answer. He said he noticed something in that first at bat. And then the next 2 at bats, he pulverized pitches. And as Michael Kay and Todd Frazier talked about in the booth, righties don't go to Death Valley at Yankee Stadium often, let alone hit the back of the Yankees bullpen. He's going opposite field.
It's crazy.
And hitting the back of the bullpen over Death Valley. This guy he's cut different. He takes the ball to all fields. There was that at bat that we talked about, Chris, in the first series when they swept the Astros against his former teammate Hader. He gets down, I think 1-2, works to count to 3-2, fouls off a tough pitch, and then takes an outside fastball, which there's some people who told me guys today can't go the other way because they throw too hard.
Yeah.
Well, I know not everyone is Juan Soto. However,
that's what you do.
He took an outside 97-mile-an-hour fastball, took what Hader gave him, and punched it into left field.
Yeah.
Watching his at bats, even when the guy strikes out, and you could kill me for that, but I am locked in.
Oh, absolutely. Me too.
The way he attacks and his approach, and that's going back to my point originally. I think these guys see this. Judge is in the on deck circle watching every at bat, and he sees it, and they feed off it, and they want to be that. And I think that's why Soto is. And look, this is just speculation, but I think he's going to be a Yankee for life. I really do.
I do too.
I do too.
I don't think there's any way that he doesn't come back because he loves it. And he also said he tries to say hi to every Dominican. He sees out, and he
home.
Out. Yes,
he'll never get home if he does that.
No, he said that. I loved that. Did
he say that?
Yes, you could see him in the outfield during the game, even between pitches.
Well, I mean, I see him talking to people, but I didn't know that's what was going on.
No, they're screaming at him, and he turns around because he feels guilty, like he wants to meet what other player with that kind of stature does? I mean, come on, let's think about it.
Cal Ripken, last one.
There you go.
Cal Ripken was that type of guy. Yeah.
You put him in a different he's not he's the category. There's subcategories off of him, but he is the category.
I don't know about you guys, but Brian Cashman's been the GM of my favorite team since I was 11 years old. I am a 36-year-old man. I would like to say I know his tendencies, right? I like to say I know him very well. Once you traded for Juan Soto, he backed himself into that corner.
Yeah.
Once you got a taste of that, that's it. It's like once you go from Apple headphones with the wire to these, I'm not going back. Bro, I'm not going back. You got me. I'm gonna lose this shit every 3 or 4 months, and I'm gonna buy another pair.
Okay, Boomer. Okay, Boomer.
That's what's just gonna happen. That's Juan Soto. Juan Soto is
you're right.
Pro headphone. You can't go back once you get the experience. You can't let that man go. He embodies a Yankee in every which way. He really does. I've seen him play the last 30 years. He takes his walks. He's left-handed. He goes the opposite way. He's a Yankee. There are some radio hosts who, they don't like the walks.
They don't want him walking. They want him swinging at balls
hell
bouncing in
with
the other
that.
batter's
Yeah.
box.
Are you
That's
crazy?
dumb.
And then you get
You know who's
Judge up
hitting
who's
behind
on
him?
fire behind you? Come on.
Yeah, you've got
the more
King Kong.
Can I pour some more
the
gas
the
on
merrier.
that?
Yeah, it's the more the merrier, man. Like just
he wants him to swing at balls in the dirt. Like
Yeah, Aaron
No,
Judge is on
sir.
deck.
And then we can shit on
should
him
I
for
walk?
swinging at that
Yeah.
ball
Why
in the
should I
dirt.
walk?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's incredible. I mean, and I've seen him as just other games I've watched before he got to New York. But I mean, watching him every game and every at bat, I just didn't realize how good this guy was, man. I mean, he's better than I thought he was,
Yeah.
and that's saying something because I knew he was really good, but I mean, I knew him more from the numbers and as a visiting player, as opposed to just really watching him and how he approaches the at bats, and he just kind of screws with pitchers, like sitting there like doing this at him, and like
Oh yeah.
he's always talking to the catcher and the umpire. I mean, it's like
He
this
was
guy has
my
like
favorite player before we even got him.
yeah.
Now I'm
I
just
mean,
a kid in the kitchen enjoying
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
watching.
Why
I
wouldn't
mean,
he be? 100%.
Yeah, I mean,
I loved all of that.
and and so now he's getting now he'll be back in San Diego for the first time since since the trade. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this little West Coast trip, what you guys kind of want to see out of it, and we'll wrap it up with that. We're going Sunday. There's actually going to be 120 Yankee fans in the home run deck out in right field. It's like the home run porch, I believe it's called. This guy Shane runs a group, and so if you and anyone on the Yes Network want to look at us being idiots, we'll be there. But
I'm sure they'll find you for sure.
Oh, you're not going to be able to miss us. I'm going to bust out the Mattingly jersey for this one too.
Nice.
It's a beautiful jersey, by the way.
Oh, I had to do
I've
the 95 with the
Oh
the
my
Mick.
Oh yeah, with the
Oh,
Mickey.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had to do it. But what do you want to see out of this? I mean, I think obviously they're going to go into Anaheim and murder him, but that's what happens in Anaheim. But
Well, that's the baseball gods kind of exercising the demons from the early 2000s. Sorry, Wayne.
That's how I feel about the Angels to this day. I will not let my guard down in that building.
But I mean, they did last year. I mean, every time I go to the series, they managed to like drop 1 or 2 in like some stupid, ridiculous fashion. But
who didn't have Mike Scioscia's face on a dartboard?
Sean Figgins, Garrett Anderson. Never stopped.
Oh, Garrett Anderson. He was one of my favorite players, man.
Garrett Anderson. You didn't play.
I loved Garrett Anderson. No, but I loved to watch him hit.
Oh yeah,
I did not.
Sweet
swing. Yeah. Against anybody but the Yankees. But what do you want to see out of him? I'll tell you, it's weird. Just even living out here, you get used to the game starting at 4:00. So now 7:00. It's like, my night's ruined. I tell you, ruined. But
not in San Diego, man.
No. I mean, it's well, I'm going to be down there, so it'll be nice. I'll get some sun. And,
perfect down there.
Some barbecue from Randy Jones's joint at Petco. Mm-hmm. But Chris, what do you want? What do you see? What do you want to see out of this trip? I mean, what would be a successful trip?
Look, these are always, and Wayne could talk about this more than I can. He's actually done it. I'm just going from like a fan and covering the team perspective, but they got away after that last Seattle game. That's a long flight out to the West Coast. You're playing San Diego tonight. So I kind of give them a little bit of a leash at the beginning of the trip. Yeah. Let them get their legs under them. Let them get going. But if they were to come back 6-3, I wouldn't be too broken up about that. Like taking 3 from the Angels, taking a couple from the Padres, a couple from the Giants. I mean, maybe 7 wins, 7-2, 6-3, something like that. How about win every series? If they win every series the way, and let's be honest,
6-3 is what I'm expecting.
Yeah,
win series.
And let's be honest, I give them the hiccup in San Diego because of the flight and everything else. Listen, they're human. Take the money out of it. Take everything else out of it. They're ridiculous athletes. They're also human.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get tired.
Yes. You do get tired.
You do get jet lag.
Now, look, you watch.
It's easier coming this way, though. It's always easier coming this way than it is going back east.
Yeah, you watch the hockey. Right. You watch the hockey players before like a big playoff game, and this is even before the puck is dropped in the first period. They're cracking smelling salts on the bench already. I mean, they're just a different breed, but it's like that. It's like that. These guys, they need a day. Like if they go out there tonight and they lose a 1 or 2 run game to San Diego, all right. They'll get their legs under them the next day, win the series, and then move on
tomorrow. Get them tomorrow, exactly. Well, well, Dro, you said 6-3 as well. I mean, do you see anything? You have any thoughts on this little West Coast swing?
I am interested in this San Diego series because of the pitching matchups. We're going against Dylan
Darvish tonight.
Oh, Darvish has been good too.
Yes, he's been good.
And the local kid over there, Musgrove. Yeah.
Mocha Joe.
Mocha Joe. I wonder if his scones are dry too.
Oh, wait.
Did you just put your nose in my coffee? I'm sorry.
Mocha Joe.
Your table's wobbly.
Wait, how about? Oh God. I'm not gonna even get into the urinals, but that's a whole different show.
The table, the wobbly table is the best scene in the whole.
It was really good.
The whole season.
Oh God!
God rest Richard Lewis. By the way,
I know. Amen. But Wayne, I mean, you're up in the Bay Area. I mean, you're not going to any of these games, are you?
I hadn't planned on it, but if the chance comes up, I'll take it. But I'll say I'd like to see the Yankees go 5.5 and 3.5 because that half win either way, I'm going to be fine with. If they go home with a winning record on the road trip, that's good.
That.
I'd rather do this long trip right now than August or September, man.
Yeah,
absolutely. They're still fresh.
That's got to kill you.
I was going to ask
as a player. Yeah, that's got to kill you. Like, in the dog days, then you have to do this kind of like long West Coast trip. That's got to beat the hell out of you. And then fly back east. And that's, like I said, that's the harder way to travel because that 3 hours gets you more than losing the 3 hours when you come this way.
Yeah. And the San Francisco trip, a lot of times I wouldn't have a lot of hope because the weather here, I'm half hour out of the city, but I'm in the East Bay. You go to play there at night, it's a different beast, man. You don't think it's summer. And I didn't know if the Yankees be able to handle it. But with the hitters they have, the power they have, these guys, it doesn't matter if you're playing in Yosemite, man. They're good. They can hit it out of these parks, even in the cold weather. It's just how that'll be a real test for the Yankee pitchers, how they pitch in San Francisco because it's a pitcher's park.
October.
It's a pitcher's park. They say it's a pitcher's park, but try gripping a cold ball. Try gripping a cold baseball.
I've seen some of the longest home runs I've ever seen in my life hit at whatever the hell it's called now.
Pac-Bell
Oco.
Oh man,
I don't know. Qualcomm.
I think it's
Oracle now.
It's Oracle now.
Oracle. Oh shit. Okay.
Oracle Park.
It changes every year. But I mean, and Dro, you were at that same game, I think, weren't you? Where Gary Sanchez hit one about 700 feet. Like
the guy that caught the ball in the outfield, I was hanging out with him the night before.
Nice.
Oh, really?
You can't miss a big 6'4" black guy in a Yankee pinstripe uniform with a book bag. Yeah, you can't miss that guy.
Love it.
On TV, I was like, oh, that guy.
Oh my God!
Hey, Chris, we threw roses at the rotation. I won't go through all of the numbers, but I'll give you this for the offense. We never even talked about the bottom of the order, what the catchers are doing, not only beside the dish, but behind the dish. Okay. I know, but the offensive ranks. This is all Major League Baseball. Home runs and OPS, they're first. Slugging and on base, they're second. Runs scored, they're third, and average, they're fourth. So they are top 5 No, this is the entire lineup. This is the Yankees offense as a whole. They are top 5 in every big category and first in home runs and OPS. And if you looked about 2 or 3 weeks ago, they were way behind in home runs.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
and
they
now
were.
they're leading Baltimore by 4, who's in second, and the next team is the Dodgers, and they're 9 behind the
And
Yankees.
Baltimore was up there in that list.
Yeah.
They hit a
caught
little
up to them.
cold snap too. Yeah.
So my
the weather
point-
warms up, man, and
my
everybody,
point
it's
is-
like the Mark Teixeira effect. You're cold for April, but the weather warms up. Next thing you know, you're a monster.
My point is this: Yankee fans, you're out there, you're watching this. It's called high Yanxiety, right over here,
right over your head.
Yeah, it's called high anxiety for a reason, because at sometimes during the season we all have it. But right now, do yourself a favor: squeeze the pitchers and the lineup into a big old glass and drink this up with a lot of ice and enjoy it, because this doesn't happen throughout the course of the season. So enjoy this. It'll get you through the bumpy turbulence of some hiccups here and there, like losing the first 2 to Seattle and then beating their best 2 pitchers the next 2 games. So tranquilo, relax. It's okay. Did I say that right, Joe?
It's okay.
You can kill me if I didn't. Do you have to
Close
pronounce
enough.
Do you have to pronounce the L's in that?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Tranquilo.
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 Chill. Just relax. It's going to be okay.
Well, listen, gentlemen, I want to say thank you. That hour goes quick, man. I'll tell you.
Every time, never.
It goes faster than.
Remember, you tried to do 45 minutes, and that was.
Yeah, forget it. Well, that was useless. That was a completely useless effort. But listen, for everybody here, I want to say thank you, Chris Shearn, for joining us. You're in the studio this weekend?
Yankees batting practice today, tomorrow at 8:30, and then Sunday, I believe the game is at what? Are you going to be there? What time's the game start?
It's a day game.
Yeah,
Sunday.
It's an hour before the game starts. So
All right.
what a promotional machine I am.
Yeah, very nice work. But and like I said, if you want to send anybody down, to the home run deck or whatever,
Run deck.
I promise I won't eat a pork chop on a stick. If you know what I'm talking about.
Is that Minnesota?
That was Minnesota and Kim Jones.
Yes, it was.
The drunk guy just walks up behind her and just
yeah.
So
I'll never do that again on camera.
But Chris, thank you for joining us.
No worries.
And that sparkling promo for Yankees batting practice today. Whatever the hell time it is. Wayne Franklin, thank you again for joining us, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
And last but not least, my returning co-host here, Pedro Lopez. I wish you guys could be out here for this series. We'd have a good time and play some bocce in the yard, but next time for sure. For everybody, I'm Chris Vitale. This has been High Yanxiety. We will catch you next time, and that's pretty much all I got. Cue the music? Cue the music. I said
the shoulder shimmy. There's the music.
There's the music. Thank you, guys.
See you guys.
Adios, guys.